Alrighty. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 18th Lucid Dreaming Q&A stream. I turned the camera off today because, I just said it, my ugly face just didn't need to be seen, or my room at the moment. So I'm just gonna have the camera off today and just chill, answer your questions. I already noticed a few people. I like Bulgano or whoever that was. I noticed Gamerbot is here. Sealed Orion is here, or Simmer. I think it's Sealed Orion. Simmer. I think it's Sealed Orion. And Huki, hello. I hope you are doing well. I'm gonna start catching up on chat. I see that a lot of people have already shown up, or decent number. Let me just see what we've got. Oh, we only have 3. Oh, lovely. More people were waiting for it to start than actually showed up. Let's see. All right. Let me start catching up to. Yep, there's your comment, Hukif. And I am caught up on comments. Bunzy underscore NL just said hi. Hello. Silvaz. Okay, I think you were on Dream Cafe just now. Hello, Silvaz. Welcome to Lucid Dreaming Q&A number 18. Just a few simple things. I think there might be a couple of new folks here. And for those of you who are, the way we do things here is you ask questions, I answer them. Please try to begin your questions with capital letters. StreamYard, the way it shows the chat on here, is not very friendly to those visually impaired people. That's myself. And it meshes the time and the beginning of your comment together, which means if it's not a capital letter, it'll read as something really wonky, and I might miss some context of what you're trying to say. And the other thing is slow mode. I do have slow mode in effect. It's 30 seconds. If you're taking less than 30 seconds to type a message, it's probably not a question. So I usually have slow mode on to prevent massive spamming. So that's now the ground rules are kind of out of the way. Let's see if we have anything. Buns in L. Who are you? Okay, that's an interesting question to get. I am Skyfall Blind Dreamer. I am an admin on the Dream Cafe server. I started this YouTube channel to get into doing YouTube stuff last, I think, August, and started putting some things up. Mostly, I do live streams. Most of my live streams are Q&A live streams. This is the 18th one. Most of those live streams were done this year. In fact, I started doing them, I didn't really get into them in last year. In fact, I think the YouTube channel really didn't get off the ground until maybe November, December last year when I started putting some stuff out. It was kind of waiting in the wings for a bit. But I really have done almost all, not most, I think, of the Q&A live streams this year. So that's 18 of them so far. I usually try for once a week or once every 2 weeks. Sometimes it's different. This summer, I've been doing a good bit of traveling, so there have been some weeks where I haven't posted some, and there have been a couple that I posted from cruise ships. And there was one interview I did from Washington, D.C., so I'm doing a good bit of traveling. I do hope to be able to stream. The plan is to stream from the International Dream Conference. I actually fly to Tucson in 2 weeks from today. In fact, in 2 hours from now, and 2 weeks, 2 weeks and 2 hours, roughly, I should be landing in Tucson, Arizona. Hello. All right. Hello, Supernova. Hope you're doing all right. Igath, no problem. Thank you for showing up as well. Very, very enlightened questions, Silvas. No vagueness there at all. Definitely something I can answer in abundance of detail on live stream. Thank you so much for that well thought out question, Silvas. Hello, Sharky. Welcome. Hope you're doing all right. Oops. Yeah, you don't click enter. Those of you who know me well enough know, not a fan of people who push enter before they finish typing out what they mean to say. Now, unfortunately, 200 characters is rather limiting, but you can get a decent number of questions in with that. Um, I'm only answering serious questions. Any questions that aren't actually serious, and particularly lucid dreaming related, are going to be ignored as if they were never actually posted. Just a warning for somebody in particular. I think we all know who that is. Anyway, what's my favorite technique? For those of you who don't know me, my favorite technique is mild all the time, every day, every night, every day. I enjoy teaching it. I enjoy doing it. I love mild. Mild is awesome. Mild is cool. I love doing it. I love teaching it and just it's fun. I enjoy it. Mm, when I actually get a serious question from you, Silvas, I'll let you know. Yeah, you can. Um, are you doing Wild Supernova with Wake Back to Bed as well? Because that's normally how you go about doing it. But yeah, you can actually relax before trying to do it. I mean, if you're someone who takes a long time to fall asleep, then it's not actually a bad idea. Um, it's just remembering to engage with that anchor later. I kind of tried that this morning and failed miserably because I didn't remember to try to anchor or anything and then just got caught up in, I don't fully remember what I got caught up in, but I'll be digging around throughout the day to try to get it back what I got in after 9 o'clock. And I'm caught up with comments. Let's see here. 6:38, 6 minutes 38 seconds, 6 people watching. Okay. Let's see here. But yeah, my recall's been kind of up and down. My sleep schedule's also been whacked out. Some of that's traveling, but most of it's just me staying up later than I should. A lot of that's answering questions on Dream Cafe, actually. Server got pretty busy at really late times. It's the European crowd for sure coming on during the summer. But I'm really looking forward to the Dream Conference. It's in a couple of weeks. And with all the chaos in flying in the United States right now, with all the flight delays and all the staffing shortages and all the chaos, I hope I make it. I hope I make it. I'm planning on making it. Let's hope I make it to Tucson. Welcome to my world, Supernova. Pull up a chair. I'll get your membership club card to the Long Time to Fall Asleep Club. I am the president of this club. It takes me like 40 minutes every night. It takes me too long for my liking. But yeah, I've been there. Takes me a while to fall asleep as well, Supernova. So yeah, you can relax and just you don't have to engage your anchor immediately. It's just make sure to remember to do it obviously before you fall asleep and maybe look out for either hypnagogia or look out for just randomized thoughts or things of that nature. Seeing as I'm blind, I would say no. I don't know Technoblade well. They don't know if that's like a game or some other thing, but nah. Yeah. Not serious questions coming from half the audience today. Buns in L is the kind of person who is going to ask all these off-topic questions in the Lucid Dreaming channel. This is really a bit of annoying. But anyway, the conference I'm going to in July, well, duh, it's in July because it's 14 days from now, is in the 39th Annual International Dream Conference. There's a lot of dreaming related stuff goes on there. There's a lot of stuff that I'm not interested in, but there's also a decent amount of lucid dreaming related stuff that's going on. I have an opportunity to meet people who research lucid dreaming, who study it, people like Dr. Stephen LaBerge, Robert Wagner. Um, there are several others that I don't even know the names of. There's one that I've heard, Dr. Kristen Lamarca. I've heard some of her stuff. There's some other people, but there are people who are researching some rather interesting things with lucid dreaming, and I really look forward to meeting a few of them and hopefully getting to know a few of them, and raising awareness for what it's like for people like me to dream and have lucid dreams as well, because this definitely an understudied aspect of the understudied field um, as far as blind people in lucid dreaming. I see there, Ryan. Thank you for a serious question. My LD goals right now are to try to spend more time on Star Horizons. It's been a long-standing goal for a long time to try to actually spend more than 5 to 10 minutes at a time on that ship, and also to remember more what I want to do when I actually get Lucid. Getting Lucid's not the problem, but it's usually lower level. A lot of Lucids lately have been like lower level, or I just don't remember what it is I wanted to do. So remembering what I want to do while Lucid. Getting back to ZSS Star Horizons, one of the big things I want to do. Um, few things of that nature. How many times have I had sleep paralysis? I just scrolled back up to that, Silvis. Uh, it's the exact same as Blutarski's GPA from Animal House. It's 0.0. So yeah, I've never had sleep paralysis. It's not a common experience at all. It's not something you have to worry about. No, never had it. So yeah. And hello, John Carbajo. Yeah, that's Carbajo. No, Carbajal. Carbajal. Jean Carbajal, I think. Why did I decide to practice lucid dreaming and how did I find out about it? Well, I found out about it from the same place as just about everyone in the Dream Cafe server did. Found out about it from YouTube, not Eld initially. I found out about it from the infographic show. I tend to scroll things and just listen to stuff I find interesting. Usually I listen to stuff that's entertaining on YouTube. Usually I listen to Reddit stories, stuff that's funny, revenge, malicious compliance, things of that nature because I find them funny. And these days it's progressed to Darwin Awards. I listen to a lot of that. But that's usually mild entertainment is what I get off the platform. Occasionally I'll listen to something interesting like war documentaries, World War II kind of miniature stuff that deals with like historic battles or things of that nature because I find history to be interesting. I have for many years found history to be interesting. I think that knowing history is a good thing. Knowing what happened in the past is a good thing. And so I pay attention to that kind of stuff, kind of more cerebral content on that side. And so I learned a little bit about lucid dreaming, obviously, from there. And of course, learning all the incorrect stuff, just I was intrigued by the subject. And I figured, well, I have a very active imagination, like extremely active to the point that I can visualize or imagine anything with ease, entire scenarios. I can play them out and change things or try to predict possible actions or reactions in a like I can just run things like that in my head and just like examine them and play with them. And I thought, you know what? Being able to do all that stuff in full 3D in a dream and with all my senses instead of doing it while awake would be awesome and have like some really cool applications for just enjoying things. So I like, I should try to learn this. I found exploring lucid dreaming and fell for all that misinformation because the thing is though, when you are learning something and you don't know any better, it's really easy to listen to somebody who presents it really well, and that's something he does, at least auditorily presents really well. And you don't know better. That's the problem. You think you know a lot when you've listened to a lot of stuff, but you don't actually know a lot. You're just learning, and I fell for that. I ended up having to learn quite a bit. In fact, my first inkling that what I had heard on YouTube wasn't correct was I'd say a few days to a week later when I started reading Exploring the World of Lucid Dreaming by Dr. Stephen LaBerge. I got into chapter 3 where he actually described what mild was. And I was going like, hang on, I've heard people describe what they call mild before, and this doesn't add up. And this is the person who supposedly created the technique. And so I'm going to start asking people, okay, so what is it? And this is back in the day on Dream Cafe when the people who were like trying to guide people and stuff were really just going off the YouTube stuff. They couldn't give me an answer. And it wasn't until I met people who you've probably heard this story. I discussed it with Sensei's interview, but it wasn't until I met Sensei that I actually got an answer. And from that point on, I only started learning from people who I was able to determine actually knew what they were talking about and just ignored everybody else in terms of who I would ask questions. And that was my learning experience. I ended up learning in almost sort of an apprenticeship style. Since they would send me things to look at, to read, I would read stuff. I read Explore the World Lucid Dreaming, obviously, and then I got into a group with them and just started discussing stuff, debating stuff, bouncing ideas off people, and sort of learning from their experience and developing my own. So I basically learned in apprenticeship style. That's how I learned. Hello, Darian. Welcome. Yes, John Carvajal, I am blind. And only vague images because I could see some things when I was younger. It's like vague shapes and outlines of things. Color was something I struggled with all my life. Colors like purple or and black or brown, and some of those types of colors would just like blend. Some of those colors would just blend together, and I just couldn't tell what some of them were. Yeah, it sounds Hispanic to me, so yeah, I figured Carvajal was the correct pronunciation. Yes, Skyfall is blind. Yes, I am blind. Bojan Rakik. I remember you. Bojan Bojan Rakik. Hello. I have been lucid dreaming now for, let me just do a little quick math, 626 days, 625 nights. Since Thursday, October 15th, 2020. Computer, what is 623 divided by 7?
623 divided by 7 is 89.
Yep, that's my 89th week. So this is my 90th week starting last Thursday. My week started on Thursday because my practice started on a Thursday. So my weeks go Thursday to Wednesday. And so in that case, Thursday was day 624. Today's day 626. That's how I keep count. Sealed Orion, what is my experience with presence in dreams? As from what I know, even a lot of very experienced people still struggle with having low presence in dreams. Is it something which can be improved? Now, for me, it is something that fluctuates. I do think it's something that can be improved. I don't usually do a lot of like awareness type techniques normally. Now, I will do that. I will have some exceptions to that. Like, for example, if I am thinking about it, I will make an effort to be more aware of what I'm doing. Or if I'm in specific locations, like a couple days ago, I was at an amusement park. So every time I was on a roller coaster, I was thinking about it and thinking about lucid dreaming and just pay attention to everything. I have all those tracks memorized, so I can just predict what's coming up because I've ridden them all so many times, and it's a lot of fun. But aside from that, presence in dreams can be, can just fluctuate. It can fluctuate. So for me, it can go up and down. Sometimes it's low. Sometimes it's pretty high, and I'm like just fully cognizant of all the things that I want to do or of what I'm specifically doing at this certain time, and fully paying attention to, hey, I'm not actually in Seattle. Yeah, getting off a cruise ship at night, that's not normal. And no, I didn't actually walk off the ship or end up in this car. I just ended up in this car. I didn't actually get out of the car. I just ended up inside the airport. You pay attention to details like that. But I will say, like, sometimes I'm better at it than others. Obviously, I do think it can be improved though as well. But I do think, regardless of improvement, I do think it's going to fluctuate. Like, I don't think you're going to have 100% like high presence dreams. I do think it'll fluctuate, and there can be factors that are either outside of your control or that you're just not aware of that can affect it. You have things like maybe your sleep schedule or how tired you are. I don't know if that can affect it, but it possibly could. I'm not an expert on all of that, but I definitely think there are things that will affect that. That things like that will fluctuate. They can't completely be controlled, at least from what I know. Oh, Boyan Arkik. Have I listened to Lucid Dreaming Portal? No, I don't listen to Daniel Love, and I won't go into the reasons here. This isn't the place. But no, I've heard of him. His content, from what I've heard, is decent. It's okay. It's decent. I'm not here to get into any details or anything specific though. So sorry, but that one, I might answer that one for you in private. Like, if you have my DMs on Discord, you can DM me. I'll answer that one for you in private. It's not something I want to do publicly. I want to keep this about lucid dreaming and keep, any sort of drama or anything out of it. But yeah, um, my presence or awareness in dreams, I consider those to be kind of very similar things. Uh, it fluctuates up and down. It can vary depending on how much sleep I got or various other factors. There's some times where I'm just like fully cognizant of everything I'm doing. And then there are times where I'm lucid and I'm just going with what's going on. Sometimes I do that by choice because what I'm doing is so interesting that, at least to me, that I just want to stick with it or to find something to do around me. Or sometimes I just don't remember what I want to do and aren't fully aware of certain things. Like there are times, and there's I think it was my 35th lucid dream. I'd have to go pull up the actual log of it, but there's a good example from one of my earlier lucids where I recognized I was dreaming and I had a series of false awakenings, but I didn't recognize the actual place I was in as being part of the dream. It was like, I know I'm dreaming, I'm lucid, but I don't recognize the actual fact that I'm in this particular building as part of the dream. So things like that. Oh, you're okay, Boyanraki. Let's see. We are computer time.
The time is 3:21 p.m.
I love my Alexa. Alexa devices are awesome. At least with some of the stuff that they can do. But yeah, I am very much looking forward to this conference. There's going to be some decent opportunities to talk to lucid dreamers that are there. I really want to get to know people who practice lucid dreaming who aren't part of our communities. I mean, our communities are pretty sheltered in terms of the fact that on Discord, you're going to have mostly a younger population. Let's face it, most of the people who are on Discord are probably in their teens to 20s. So that skews the actual metric in terms of age pretty low. People like Sensei Huke, people in their 30s, they're sort of the outliers. If you're in your 40s, you're old on Discord. If you're in your 60s, you're lost. I'm just saying. So actually talking to people who do lucid dreaming, go like, okay, well, what are you part of any communities? Do you communicate with other people about it? If so, where do you go? What do you do? Like, who do you talk to? I want to find out, what more adults are doing in terms of lucid dreaming and, learning about it or doing things, and like how I could connect with some of those communities or just learn about some of those communities as well. And, you know, get a better understanding for people as a whole instead of just the youngest among us who are doing lucid dreaming. And also the researchers. I do think it's great to actually talk to people who research this stuff for a living. It's an opportunity I'm very much looking forward to having. Being able to meet Dr. LaBerge himself is honestly almost worth the plane tickets to get there in the first place. Those are expensive plane tickets, at least for me, for someone who doesn't make a ton of money. Those plane tickets took a good bit of planning to do, but thankfully I booked them in February before all of this mess happened here in the States and the prices went haywire. The same flights that I booked in February, I think if I paid fully in cash would have been $470. They're now $970. Actually, they were like a few weeks ago. Now that it's a couple of weeks till, it's probably over $1,000. That's for an economy ticket, guys. That's for your cheapest tickets. So yeah, it's flight prices in the United States. It's you combine inflation, gas prices, and summer travel, and it is not the time to fly right now. And Boy and Rakik, you are consistent. You've had the last few questions to yourself. Here we go. You know how lucid dreaming for beginners come in form of having fun and all those things? Well, if a person builds skill for lucid dreaming, what is then there more to do? Okay. Well, there are a variety of things you can do. I still think enjoyment, fulfillment in that way, of your imagination and creativity in particular, is a valid reason. People can also practice things. If you are learned like a certain skill, like if it's a muscle memory based type thing, you can practice. You can think about things. You can try to reason through things that you know. You can just take that time that you otherwise wouldn't be able to use productively and try to be productive. You try to organize thoughts about something. You just have to be wary of false memories. They are a thing. Like, I wouldn't recommend just trying to study things, because the whole point of studying is if you are trying to learn something specifically that you don't know perfectly. Like, if you knew what you were trying to do perfectly, you wouldn't need to study. Um, but what the issue is, if you're trying to study something in a dream, is you're absent the reference material. You can't go look something up. And so what you could end up doing is giving yourself false memory about it. And then you can wake up and go, wow, like, this is that even right? But that's the issue. Like, I wouldn't study in a dream because you don't have access to reference material. You can't actually go look something up. You can't properly learn and reinforce knowledge that way without the requisite materials. But you can do a lot of things. You can explore yourself. You can lucid dreaming is a great place to work on dealing with anxiety or things related to nightmares. I think it's definitely helped me out a good bit. I mean, one of the things I've learned to do just by trying to do dream control stuff, especially this past year, is just try to calm myself in a dream, and things tend to work quite well when I do that. So that has helped me quite a bit. So I do think that I do know there are some applications. There is also dealing with nightmares. If you're someone who deals with nightmares, lucid dreaming is you basically can create a safe space where you can experiment with things or do things without any physical or like lasting or external consequences, no externalities. So there's a lot of room for just messing around with stuff or for working with things. And like I've heard that lucid dreaming has been used for PTSD, it's been used for nightmares, it's been used therapeutically for things of that nature, and there's some good applications for it there. So there's a variety of different things you can do, and it's honestly up to you with what you want to do with it, because they're your dreams after all. At the end of the day. Sharky, were there times where I almost gave up on lucid dreaming or questioned where it was worth my time? Nah. And to understand the context, Sharky, you have to understand when it was I started. It was October of 2020. The best way I can describe 2020 from my perspective was the year of hell. It was, without a doubt, the worst year of my life. Let's be honest. Who here had a great year, a great time in 2020, not being able to spend time with anyone, doing anything they like to do? Who here enjoyed 2020? Because I did. 2020 sucked. My favorite things are traveling, being in places that involve being in public, doing activities that involve being out and about. Those are some of my favorite things to do. And I got to do none of that in 2020. I was stuck at home in 2020. I had nothing to look forward to in 2020, and it felt like it would never end in 2020. So yeah, lucid dreaming, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to give up on this. 2020 already sucks. I mean, there's really, there's to me there was it was like nothing. It was I had a kind of like a nothing to lose mentality about it. I mean, I wanted to do it. I was actually found the concept, like I said, I found the concept very intriguing, and if it's something I really want to do, I am pretty stubborn, and if it's something I really, really want to do, I will find a way to do it. Like I will find some way to do it if there's something I really, really want to do. It's like your strongest intentions, right? When you have a strong intention to do something, you find a way to do it. If it's something that is really important to you, that's what I talk about intentions. Is you're making a decision to do something in the future, and the more important that decision is to you personally, the more likely you are to remember to do it, because you'll be driven to do it just by the level of importance it has to you. And it can be proximate, like I need to do something in the next 10 minutes. It's very important. It could be the next 3 hours. Like I have a live stream. I scheduled a live stream last night. That was setting an intention. Live stream at 3 o'clock Eastern. I had to make sure I was home from, Dad and I went out to get lunch, make sure we were home before 2:30 so I could be ready. Made sure I remembered to check the time. I was keeping track of the time. Why? Because I had to start this at 3 o'clock. I started this probably a couple seconds after 3 o'clock. That's an intention. So for me, lucid dreaming this is something I really want to do. The concept is enjoyable. I have all of this time here. It's 2020. 2020 sucks. And I want to, take a step and just, find something enjoyable. I mean, I was at a really bad place in 2020. it was not a good time. And so I thoroughly enjoyed just taking a step um and doing it, enjoying it. I've not only got enjoyment from doing lucid dreaming itself, but from meeting people, learning about it, teaching other people has honestly been quite fulfilling. I really enjoy, watching other people succeed. I really enjoy teaching other people lucid dreaming and discussing it with people. I find that to be quite fulfilling. So I have gotten a lot from it, and it's kind of become a passion. It has become a passion for me. So yeah, did I ever consider giving up? Heck no. No. I was never close. And plus I started getting results within the first couple of weeks. I was never close to giving up. And I have been enjoying it ever since. Um I think I answered that eventually. Computer time. Let's see, what time is it? 3:31. Okay. So yeah, that question is at 3:23, Boyanraki. I have answered that. Let me just make sure I'm still on internet. All right, good. I am. I'm not using my home internet at the moment because we've been having like signal interruption issues for years now. The ISP people have been out like 2 or 3 times in the past month. Nothing has worked. It's not our equipment. Our equipment is brand new. As in, we got the router a month ago, and we've maybe 2 months ago now. It's early July, maybe close to 2 months ago. We got the new router, and it has been having issues ever since. And it's the same issues that we've just been having for a while. So it's not the equipment. There's some other issue going on. We can't find out what that issue is, and it is honestly driving me crazy. Hello, LATTE. Welcome. Axolotl, hello, welcome. I know you sent that message a while ago, but I just now got to it. Hello. Poopak. Poopak. Hello. That sounds Hispanic or French. Probably Hispanic. Yes, don't forget to like. Yeah, 2020. Yeah, that exactly, Cecilia Ryan. That echoes my sentiments. Do you think there's any way to keep your surroundings permanent? Sometimes you leave a place, you can't find it or put something down again. Well, again, the thing about dreams is, to quote Dr. LaBerge, perception is dreaming constrained by sensory input. Dreaming is perception unconstrained by sensory input. And it does lead to a level of inconsistency. I mean, things aren't going to be perfectly stable or perfectly consistent in terms of the fact that you can get pretty good consistency, like on average, but every single little thing, there's likely going to be something off or something that changes. I mean, that just happens. I think the best environment that I've kept stable has been done schematically. It's my bedroom. In fact, I actually had to fight long and hard to actually make any significant changes to that environment. When I would have false awakenings, things would be extraordinarily consistent and persistent in there. Persistent realm is another place. If you have the same places that you go to, and those places remain in the same way, and they're consistent, I mean, that's kind of an example. In terms of trying to find something you dropped, I mean, there is an expectation component to that. I mean, that's the main thing, the driving force. If you're expecting that you would find this, and you most strongly associate that you will find it, and you're in a supportive state emotionally, then you'll probably find it. Now, if you're anxious about finding something, if you're thinking you won't be able to find it, then you're probably not going to find it. I mean, that's sort of how things like that work. But yeah, as far as like keeping your surroundings constantly permanent, like never going to change, permanent, never ever going to change, I don't think so. Like, I'd have to ask Hukif and Sensei about their persistent realms. Like, is there ever any variance? Like, is there ever any change? Like, Hukif, not sure if you're still here. You can answer that. But as far as keeping things completely permanent, not sure about that. Consistent, like moderately consistent, persistent, yeah, I think you can do that. I don't know about permanent. you have problems. Yeah, that could, but in Racket, yeah, that could actually be an issue if you're not, willing to put in the sort of the long-term effort investment, the long-term investment for the reward, then yeah, that could actually be an issue there. But it's still definitely worth it. It's totally worth it. And honestly, instant gratification, just putting it this way in terms of instant gratification, most of life isn't going to be instant gratification. It's going to be something you have to either wait for or earn or do to get results. And it's honestly something that you kind of have to learn to do in order to live and to develop in life, is to learn to accept delayed gratification. You're not going to get your results immediately. Uh, Everything from work to relationships to investing money all revolves around sort of delayed gratification for the most part. I mean, you're going to want something that you're going to get out of that, but you're probably not going to get those returns for a while. Like a retirement account, that's delayed gratification. You'll probably invest in a retirement account for 30, 40 years, and you retire in your 60s and you have money set up, but that money didn't just get there overnight. That money was put in over the course of decades to the point where you have a modest, decent enough amount of money to retire with. I mean, that's sort of how life works. So I definitely think that working on instant gratification issues like you're having, stuff like that, is be very helpful in general for life, for you personally, just for anybody. Opinions on time dilation. Personally, never done it. Not sure what the actual extent that you could do with it is. I do think there's definitely a point where it becomes false memory creation and or shortening of experiences or something of that nature. Not really completely sure on everything. I've never done it myself, so I don't really have any practical knowledge there. But that's just sort of my thoughts on it. There does come a point where you're going to end up with just false memories of things that you created, or you're going to end up with really, really short experiences. That's kind of my take on it. All the dreams I've had that have lasted longer, like supposedly felt longer than a day, were all non-lucids, and they all involve major time skips. It recognizes a few of them. It recognizes Moe smiley face with sunglasses. So yes, my screen reader NVDA does recognize some of them. It doesn't recognize everything, but it'll recognize a few. And it's not my screen reader particularly. I think it's alt text related to those specific images being used, and it'll depend on the platform that they're used on. Yeah, I wasn't sure what the first two were. What is my opinion on getting lucid with persistent dream characters? Tried it once. I have a persistent dream character I tried to get lucid with. Didn't really work out for me. My thoughts are like, if you can get that to work for you, more power to you. Is it something I would rely on? Not necessarily. Is it something I'd recommend as a technique? No. If you are able to get it to work, is it great if you can get it to work? Yeah. That's kind of my thought on that. Well, Atwold is a good book on LD. There's one I plan to read. I actually do want to go read it on Audible, actually. I think there's Learn to Lucid Dream by Dr. Kristen Lamarca. That's supposed to be sort of an intro book as well. I know LaBerge has another book. I got to get the name of it again from Sensei. It came up on something he sent a couple days ago. And it was a more clinical type advanced book from LaBerge, like more in-depth stuff that I'm kind of interested in. And so I wanted to get that book and read it. Honestly, I should probably do that. I want to delve around into some of the stuff. I can't get them on my normal sites. Like I use Bard, which is Braille Audio Reading Download. It's a service of the National Library Service and the Library of Congress, and the National Library Service, which is your branch's state library. So if you have a state library in the United States, these are for Americans only. If you're not American, I'm sorry, but this doesn't apply to you personally. But if you're in the United States, you'll notice that your state will have a state library. Like in your state capital, likely, there'll be a state library for like whatever state you're in. Indiana State Library, a Washington State Library, New York State Library, anything like that. And that state library is more likely than not part of the National Library Service, meaning they have services from the Library of Congress. That's Library of Congress is located in Washington, D.C. It's on like C Street and Second Street Southeast, I think. It's right near the Capitol Heights Metro. I walked in there by accident a couple times, and I've been in there on purpose a couple of times. It's right near the U.S. Capitol. Anyway, so there are services they coordinate for like getting books and materials to everything for people with disabilities. So your local libraries will have resources for people like me who are blind to be able to access materials. It used to be you had a specific book players, and you would get stuff that from those book players, and you'd play them, or you get cassettes. It used to be cassette tapes, and we had a cassette player in the house, and I'd play the cassette tapes to listen to the audiobooks. That's how they used to be. Nowadays, they have the service called Braille Audio Reading Download, which you create an account through your state library. And when you're blind, it gives you access to this whole library of books online, and you just download them to your phone or your computer, my phone usually, and voila, you go from there. I mean, it's the technology has really caught up for reading. And fortunately, they don't have a ton of books on there. And I searched a couple other spots, but I'd have to go get it from Audible, I think, because they don't have them in the Library of Congress system. I should maybe talk to them about getting those books, because it'd be really cool if they had them. Is there something complex that can't be mimicked in real life? You know, no. I will give one caveat. The only limitation to what you can like physically experience in a lucid dream is your own imagination, and if it's something real, whether or not you've experienced it before. I mean, think about it. Hold on. But no, there's not something really complex that can't be mimicked if you know what it is in a lucid dream. I mean, you can literally turn yourself into a wall. You can turn yourself into a dragon. You can turn yourself into a universe. It's just whatever you would imagine or expect that thing to be. I mean, limitations are yours. Basically, if you have any limitations, it's either your imagination, your creativity, or your own something else. But it's whatever limitations there are yours. Like for example, me, I haven't gotten really long lucids, not a lot, and that's one of my personal limitations. So it's something I try to overcome and work with. So we all have our own unique things that we do, but yeah, there's not any specific action that you can't do in a dream. The only caveat is if it's something based on real life, if you haven't actually experienced it before or understand it, then you probably aren't going to be able to replicate it accurately. Yeah, I didn't even know that exists, Sealed Orion. That'd be a really good thing to know what it was. Didn't even know that existed until all of 5 seconds ago. So yeah, I don't know the name of that either. Otherwise, I would tell you. You could expect it to be random. Uh, Again, like expectations in terms of things like the way I consider them don't have to be conscious. So you could make something randomized in a dream. You could make it just try to throw out something completely arbitrary. I think about it right now. If you were to throw out a random number, it wouldn't be like a truly random in a sense, because you'll have your own like biases towards numbers and stuff, but it'll be random enough. Like you just think of any number between 1 and 10. Okay, 3. All right, I just gave you a random number. Now, I was thinking about that number. Now, originally I was thinking about 7, but just give you an idea. I mean, you can throw out things like that. You can do that in real life too. So yeah, you can make things randomized like that. There's no reason why you shouldn't be able to do that. I know Sensei has played chess in his dreams, so I'm pretty sure he's done that. I asked him when he last did that. EGGA Egg Aura. Hello. Almost every time a lucid dream is 99% blurry. I can't feel a thing. I can't hear a thing. I can't do a thing. To simplify, my lucid dreams are not clear at all. Any suggestions? First off, there are a couple reasons why you may be experiencing this. First off, if you've been like listening to stuff on YouTube and some missing stuff, you've been expecting that your dreams won't be stable or won't be vivid. Like if you've developed that expectation where you have associated lucidity, like to the point where you get lucid and you associate the experience of being lucid to everything you just described above that can actually cause that to happen. In fact, that is the most likely way that that happens. Um, Now, the question I would ask you to sort of try to determine this is: are your non-lucid dreams the same way? Is it a recall issue? Because a lot of times, if it's just vividness in general, it'd be a recall issue. Like you're maybe not remembering your dreams as clearly or as well as you could, in as much detail as you could. But if your non-lucid dreams are more vivid than this, then it could be something with you associating lucidity to this. One thing I would recommend doing, like if you've ever done mild before, which I'm a big fan of mild. In fact, I recommend mild for more than just lucid dreaming. One of the things I actually recommend it for is vividness, or just rescripting dreams in general. And in this case, we'll be taking one of those dreams where it was really blurry with the level of detail you actually want. And you're basically giving yourself the idea of, when you get lucid, you're going to have that level of detail. I have witnessed that in terms of vividness actually work for people before. So it's definitely something worth trying. But I would like to hear about your recall. If you're on Discord, you can look at Skyfall hash 1146. I'm pretty easy to find. I'm on Dream Cafe and OmniLucid as well. And I would gladly discuss this with you further in private and DMs, where we can maybe discuss things in a little bit more detail. But I need to know more about your recall in general, and just sort of try to determine, if that's something that all your dreams are having, or just when you get lucid is an association issue with lucidity. I apologize, everyone. My internet decided to tell me to go screw off. And I was on my phone internet, and it shouldn't have disconnected. But I got disconnected from my actual phone. But yeah, Aura, I don't know how much you heard of what I was telling you, and I apologize. But we got 11 people. I do apologize for that, Egg Aura. Uh, I will say, like, if you can get into my DMs and message me on Discord, on Dream Cafe, or OmniLucid, I would love to go into detail further. I need to know, is your recall, like your non-lucid dreams, are they the same as your lucid dreams in this respect? Or are they more vivid? And in that case, if the non-lucid dreams are more vivid, then your lucid dreams are likely that way because of expectation schema. You're likely expecting them to be that way. You have associated getting lucid with that type of environment and things ending up that way, and that can definitely cause that to happen. I don't know if you might be having some other things, but I'd like to discuss some of that with you maybe later. Uh, One thing I could recommend doing, if you heard this already, I apologize, but I don't know what was actually transmitted, because all I know is when I went to hide the comment, I lost my connection. So I have no idea what was transmitted or not transmitted. Anyway, what I would recommend doing is if you have ever done mild before, you're doing mild with one of those dreams and actually imagining it in the level of detail that you want it to be in. And that is something I would recommend doing. I apologize if this is all something you guys heard, but I have to take into account that I lost connection. Let me get caught back up. Thank you very much for your patience. I do apologize for the loss in connectivity. There we go. Thank you. I am now back where I was. Hello, GamerBoth. Tips on dream control. I've had some issues with it lately. All right, this is actually a good one. So something I talk about with dream control. Let me get a little water here real quick. Is a combination of your strongest associations and your emotions. Now, I use the word expectations because I just I'm probably defining it differently than some people define it, because some people say something different. Now, to me, expectations are a combination of your strongest associations and emotions in a given moment. So what you must strongly associate with something happening, and your emotions in a moment, which basically, to simplify, your emotions kind of dictate or influence what your strongest association is for a moment. So say, for example, you have two different associations for certain things. Like LeBurge actually gives an example. I will give LeBurge's example. You're dreaming, you're walking down a street at night, and it's dark. And there are a couple of street lights, but you're walking down a street, and you see a dark figure that you can't identify on the other side of the street. All right. Now, how you what you associate that figure with being is going to be influenced based on your emotions. And he gives two examples. One, you're fearful, or you're nervous, or you're apprehensive, and that figure becomes somebody who is now chasing you because that is the association that came up because of the way your emotions were at that time. And then end up with a chase dream. Another one is you're either just calm, or you're happy, or you're in some other state that's not that way. And the example he gave was that person just becomes your friend who you're meeting at the movie theater. And so your emotions play a role in whatever your strong associations are. And that's how reality and dreams are influenced. So when I say expectations, those are sort of the factors I'm combining. Things that you associate with one another the most strongly, and your emotions, which influence which one of those is active at a given time. And I usually say that emotions kind of influence the theme or the mood of a dream. It's a mood light for dreams. So if you're anxious or nervous, you might have something like a stress dream or frantic dream. If you're fearful, you end up with nightmare or with suspense. If you're happy, or you're really excited about something, or confident, you'll find probably a lot of things going your way the way you want them to. I mean, just things of that nature. It's good to understand how that works. So one of the things I recommend is because I'm someone who deals with anxiety. I've been dealing with anxiety for eons, well, at least a few years anyway. And I can almost always attribute dream control failures to anxiety. Even back to the early days, I can think through them and go, yeah, I was really frantic. I was searching for something I tried to create in my room, and I couldn't find it. And I was just running around, digging around for it. Yeah, I was being very frantic. I was very much anxious about it not working the way I wanted it to. And that's been an issue of mine for a while. So one of the things that I found, especially when I think about it, when I remember to do this in a dream, I have like a 99.9% chance of whatever I'm doing working either first try or second try. And it's all about, my emotions in that moment. So I have the associations to things that I want. And I just take a moment to calm myself with whatever I'm doing, stop what I'm doing for a minute, just calm myself down. If I'm feeling like I'm starting to get anxious, and then try to do the thing I'm trying to do. And it works like 99% of the time when I remember to do that. That's kind of how emotions can kind of influence whatever it is that happens in a dream. So when I'm trying to do something, that's sort of one of the things that I do if I remember to do that, and it helps me quite a bit. And I've noticed since I've been doing that for several months now, I haven't had nearly as many wakings due to anxiety, or waking as quickly due to being anxious about something, or just things I'm trying to do failing constantly. So I have noticed a good deal of improvements that way, and that's something I'd recommend looking into. So understanding that what you associate things to, and your emotions are how you manipulate your environment. And if your issues with your associations, you aren't associating things to what you want them to. Common example that is used is think about something from fiction, or if it's something you want to do, like specific action that you want to take, you have a specific result that you want to get. I would recommend starting with the result you want, knowing what it is you actually want, the thing that you're trying to do, and then figure out what action is best to take to get the result you want. And there are different times in dreams where I start with the result and I've gotten good control. So one time, a result, things are feeling, I'm losing tactile sensation. It's like almost my hands are almost feeling numb. I want to feel things more clearly. Action, I ended up pulling off gloves off my hands, and that's an action I came up with in the moment. I didn't start with the action of pull gloves off my hands and then try to get the result I wanted. I started with the result I wanted, and then worked my way to an action that I could take to get that result. um, and I feel like that's something that can work well as well. All right. Clash tune. Clash tunes. Still learning wild. Okay. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's see. Free yes period. Okay. Some of you guys know each other apparently. I have no idea who Clash Tunes is. If dream sharing was possible in the future with brain machine interfaces, would you get one to dream share with others? Yeah, I'd probably get one to share with my dad to get him lucid in his dreams because I think he would have fun with it. He just doesn't want to do it. So yeah, I probably would do that. On the other hand, I could see myself going full on Cobb from Inception and just like getting ideas from people. I mean, to me it's kind of comical, but like I wouldn't seriously do that. But the idea is like from the movie is kind of interesting. But I am someone who would probably enjoy experimenting with that kind of stuff. Like if the technology existed where that were possible, you had two people sort of sharing an experience or what they perceive as an experience, because what you'd likely end up with that type of technology is interpreting the an experience. You could have an experience based on shared concepts, but the way each of those concepts is perceived by someone in a given moment would likely make the actual experiences different. But what I would find interesting is if you have two people trying to control the same dream or influence the same dream, they're both lucid, what would happen? Now, I think that would be a really interesting experience because it's it's no longer one person at that point, but like, this is all really hypothetical and theoretical. But I'm actually kind of trying to explore that in a book I'm kind of messing with. I'm on and off writing this like novel that's based on lucid dreaming where aliens invade, and the way they invade is by taking over everyone's mind and forcing the humans consciously to be dreaming basically for as long as the aliens are there. And the aliens can interact with both the dream world and with the bodies of the humans while awake, and they sort of take them over. But one of the effects of the alien telepathy is that they link everyone together, like mentally link everyone. So then you end up with it being possible to go from different dream worlds to different dream worlds, and then people are interacting. And then I'm trying to figure out, okay, well, from a fiction standpoint, I want to think about it seriously. Hypothetically, what could happen in that type of situation? I want to be serious about it. I don't want to do like low level stuff like Inception kind of was. I consider that we kind of, you know, some of it was thought out, some of it just wasn't. I want it to be more thought out, in more reasoned as to what could possibly happen in that type of a scenario, both with the aliens and with other people, and just see what happens. And one of the things I'm kind of going to get to once I get to the end of it is that everyone perceived everything completely differently. And what they actually thought each other looked like or sounded like was just completely off. So that's actually something I want to get to at the end. That even though they interacted with each other in dreams constantly and, worked together to save humanity, they still don't know what they look like or what they sound like. And it was all based on their own personal experience, personal perceptions or expectations. And I want to get to that element of dreams, and I want to link that to that world a bit, and actually have a serious look at, okay, so we all had these shared experiences, but it was different for everyone at the same time too, because I think that would be kind of cool, and have a little bit more of a deeper understanding than sort of the Inception take, where it was like this computer thing that made the environment and everyone experienced the exact same thing and it wasn't different for anyone. I think that dreaming is highly subjective. Whether it's you associate a lot of different things. Even if you're not conscious, you associate a lot of different things with concepts and ideas. So, for example, if you think of McDonald's, you might think of the one down the street from you. Now, what if it's painted differently than the one down the street from the person you're talking to, and you're both dreaming about being at the McDonald's down the street? That McDonald's might look differently to each of you, but it's the same McDonald's to both of you. You think it's the same McDonald's, but it looks differently. It may be painted differently, or maybe a different color to one of you, or you may see different people in there if you're not, it'd be interesting to think of what you end up with a shared experience like that. And that's some of the things I want to explore because I think it's interesting. Yes, Josh, well, first off, you've had 16 lucid dreams. When you say you have good dream recall, are you remembering what 3, 4, 5 dreams a night? When you say you have good dream recall, first off, I wouldn't say normal non-lucids. If what you want is lucid dreams, I wouldn't normalize non-lucids. I would just call them non-lucid dreams. I mean, what you want are lucid dreams, and so I wouldn't go associating those with not being normal because, yeah, that's just the way I approach things personally. It's not too real that it can't be real. I would like to know, Joshua, like, what are you doing practice-wise? What techniques or what practices are you doing for lucid dreaming? How many dreams per night are you remembering? Right, and then working into your actual practices of what you're doing each day. Like, are you consistent? Are you practicing every day? Is your recall consistent or moderately consistent? Things of that nature. There are a lot of details I can go into to break down whatever your practice is. And I like to do that actually. So I'd love to do that. You can find me on DMs on Discord. I'm not checking Discord right now, but I will be checking Discord as soon as I'm done here. But yeah, I will gladly help you with that. You can reach me at Skyfall #1146 on Discord. You can also find me in the Dream Cafe and OmniLucid servers. Depends on if you want it to be public or private. If you want to help in private, just send me DMs and I will get to that. And if you want it in public, well, just post in one of those channels and we will go from there. All right. Two lucids per night. And I would say regular dreams, but you remember 2 lucids and 2 non-lucids per night. Extravagant. So you're on the road to Omni, which is awesome because that's something I want to get to as well. Don't know how far along you are, like how long you've been practicing. But getting 2 lucids per night consistently is great. I'm at the nightly level myself. I fluctuate around. I've been fluctuating this past couple of weeks. My sleep schedule's been absolute horse crap. So that's my fault. That is personally my fault. So yeah, I usually am nightly though. Sometimes I get 2 or more in a night, but I would say I'm consistently multi-nightly. Like, that would be awesome. I'm aiming to get to that and past that. But yeah, that's really cool that you're actually there. That's awesome. Hello, Randy. Okay, nonsensical questions are not going to be answered. Only serious ones. All right, so you don't have great dream recall, but you want it to improve. What all, Josh Will, are you doing to improve your dream recall? Are you doing anything specific? Obviously, the number one thing people talk about is dream journaling. Well, aside from that, what are you doing? There are more things you can do. I'd like to know what exactly you are doing for dream recall. Hello, problem solved. Josh Will, I tried to, but the one about how to improve stuff, but that requires me to actually break down your entire practice. I can't answer that based on just what you gave to me already. I would need to understand what it is you're actually doing. Get a better understanding for what you're doing in general. Could my poor efforts to practice lucid dreaming be foggy and unclear path and road, or and knowledge I'm lacking? Okay, seriously, I want this, but how can I manage my expectations with reality? Well, the thing is, though, in dreams, reality is completely different. I mean, reality is completely internal. It's not based on any external factors. At least it's not. I would say based on. I mean, it's based on things that you've probably experienced, but in terms of it's not controlled or limited by external factors. It's basically run by you. It's internal. But I'm not sure what you're doing practice-wise or like technique wise, what do you do practice? If you practice every day, what you do for dream recall. So I would need to understand that as well, because I'm not sure if it is a practice issue or if it's a effort or issue, or if there's some other things going on, or if it's a knowledge issue. I can't know that until I've actually analyzed what it is you're doing or what you know. And then once I've analyzed what you do, I go, okay, is there anything you could know better? And then go from there. But until I actually analyze any of that, I can't give a too straight of an answer. All I can tell you is that uh, of course, reality in your dreams themselves is based completely different than what reality is when you're awake. And just because you haven't done something yet doesn't mean you're not going to actually do it. I mean, I'd assume that you haven't. I don't know how old you are, but most people here are under the age of 18. You probably haven't moved away from home yet, but you're going to. That's going to happen at some point. But just because it hasn't happened yet doesn't mean it won't. That is something I will give you there. So it's definitely something, you're practicing and training yourself to do something you're not used to doing. So you've had however many years you're alive doing, dreaming the way you've been dreaming, or not remembering dreams if that's the case, for however many years. You're training yourself to do something you're not used to doing. And that can take time. That takes time, that takes effort, it takes practice, takes knowledge, takes all of those things. So I do like to tell people not to let, past failures get them down in terms of what they're doing, if they're actually serious about learning doing it, because you ultimately can do something you haven't done before. I mean, that's part of the human experience. Learning to do something you've never done before is part of the human experience. You've been practicing for a month, but you've been lucid dreaming naturally, I guess, for years. That's awesome. So, well, yeah, you're years ahead of me then. Okay, I'll give you that. You're years ahead of me. But I'm just joking. But man, that's still cool. Being natural like that, I would have loved that when I was a kid. Just saying, I would have loved that. I think I had like 2 naturals before I knew what lucid dream was. 2, not like a ton. All right, so you're not doing anything aside from dream journaling, Josh Will. Do you know about reviewing dreams before bed, setting intentions to remember dreams, and dream delving? Do you know what those are? And guys, you talking about favorite numbers? I'm just gonna ignore you guys in the chat. Okay. You have non-lucid dreams that you can remember. You don't go lucid. Well, the thing is, there's like always gonna be something out of place. If you described one of those dreams to me, okay, Josh Will, one of those non-lucid dreams you're talking about, if you described one of those to me, I can't find at least 5 dream signs, then there's either something really, really crazy with the dream, or it's really, really short. But I can help you look at it. I can actually show you how I would look at dreams more critically to find anything out of place in any way. So a dream sign is something anomalous, unusual, abnormal, or out of place in any way, shape, or form whatsoever. Anything that is out of place. Anything at all. It could be something as simple as my phone was flipped over on the nightstand. I never do that. I'm very meticulous about where I put all the things I have in my room. I have to be in order to find stuff because I'm blind and I can't see them. So if I put something somewhere and forget where I put it, I can lose it very easily. And so I am very meticulous. If something isn't where I put it, then either someone moved it or I'm dreaming. Because I always am meticulous about where I put stuff. So that's actually a dream sign in my room. If I have a false awakening and there's something on my nightstand that's not in the position it's supposed to be in, that is a dream sign. If there's somebody in my family doing what they would normally do, getting up in the morning, except it's 3 hours earlier than they would normally be awake, that's a dream sign. But yeah, it can be anything simple like that. It could be anomalous. It could be the laws of physics aren't working. It could be there is an electric train running in a swimming pool because water and electricity mix your all. Oh, I was swimming in that pool too, and I didn't get electrocuted. That's physics breaking. That is anomalous. It could be just something unusual, like why, me and Dad, we were just on a cruise, but we weren't on a cruise in Alaska. We definitely weren't in Seattle, and they don't let you off the ship at night on disembarkation day. So all of that's dream signs, and not to mention, if we were out there together, we wouldn't be flying home separately. So several dream signs there. I mean, those are really kind of odd. Those are sort of out there, but they're not physics breaking. Now, what is sort of physics breaking is jumping from the cruise ship to a car to the airport. That is physics breaking because there's actually no memory of things happening in between. That is anomalous. Yeah, Josh, there's a delay because I read messages in order. I'm blind, so I read messages in order. And if I haven't gotten to one yet, that doesn't mean resend it. It just means I haven't gotten to it yet. So you're having recall issues, Bojan, is what you're saying. You're having dream recall issues. What all have you done for recall? Like, what all have you done aside from just dream journaling? But what have you done for recall? Do you practice consistently every single day? And how many dreams per night are you able to remember at your peak? Well, extravagant, that's what criticality is all about. Actually, it's training yourself to notice these things that are out of place and to immediately associate them with dreaming so that it's done by association. It's kind of what criticality and what also intentions are for in that sense is that you're teaching yourself to notice that something is in this category of out of place or doesn't make sense or is off. And instead of trying to rationalize it, which usually, like if you're not lucid, you would try to rationalize it. Instead, you immediately associate that thing to dreaming. And you have that association be active and you get lucid from it. That's sort of one of the things you try to do. Hello, Commander Fox. Welcome. Is there a way to make lucid dreams longer? Every time I have a lucid dream, it eventually becomes less vivid and you wake up. How do you make them longer? Well, that's the initial question you asked. That's something I've been dealing with for years. Well, a year and a half, or rather 626 days, 625 nights. I started with like 30-second lucids. Now I can get 10-minute lucids, 15. I think 20 is my longest. So they're not terribly long for me either. But what has helped is experience and then also working with my emotions. Because one of the biggest things that wakes me up from a lucid dream is actually anxiety. Being anxious about waking up is one of the biggest things that wakes me up from a lucid dream. It used to be other things too, and then things that I associated with waking up. I used to associate getting lucid with waking up, and it was terrible. I associated with really short lucid dreams. I kind of internalized that they would be really short, and then it went from there to just being anxious, and then anxiety causing it to stay that way for a while. It took me about 6 months to get past 2-minute lucids, to get to about 5-minute lucids, and then a little bit later to get to more 10-minute lucids. Those became less rare. And then I've gotten some 15s and some 20s. I haven't really gotten much above that. I don't know if I have any above 20. I need to dig around, but I don't know if I have anything above 20. But as far as it becoming less of a, what are your emotions like? Are you like nervous, anxious, or fearful at that time? I don't know how much time has passed since you got lucid. I don't know how long you've been getting lucid dreams, like how many you have, if it's an experience issue. So there can be a few things from that. When you do wake up, have you tried doing DEILD, D-E-I-L-D? So there are a few things to ask there. Well, one of the ways to make lucid dreams longer is practice and experience. Another is through expectations, through schema, through basically not associating being lucid with waking up. And then another is through emotional control. And then, sometimes your dreams are just going to end eventually. They are going to end. I mean, that is something that will happen. That's biology. That is science. When they do, you can try doing DEILD, go back into a dream and hopefully be lucid when you do that. It's basically a wild method. I meant for when you just wake up from a dream. If you get one of those really good natural wakings, those are like perfect for DEILD. I mean, you're barely slowly waking up, but I mean, those can be really good for that. I don't get those often though, unfortunately. I've had some really good ones though. I honestly, when I wake up like that, I feel really good when I wake up like that. And I don't wake up like that often. That's actually kind of cool, extravagant. Yeah, Josh Will, that is an out of place dream sign. That's a dream sign right there. Being in school when it's summer break, that's contextual, but that's a dream sign. Yeah, that's a dream sign. I've had several of those this summer. Okay, I think there's a translation issue here. I mean, recall is problem 2. But what I meant is that I'm stuck on recalling and trying to lucid dream. In that beginning part, something happens, lower my mood, and then I give up. What I do? Okay, yeah, because I'm not sure exactly how to help you or what the exact issue is here, so I would need more details. So your dream journaling may be delving, and aside from just trying to remember your dream when you wake up in the morning, when we talk about like dream delving, what we call dream delving, we talk about when you first wake up, like immediately after waking up, not like a few minutes later, not after putting your clothes on, not after getting out of bed, going to the bathroom. No, like within a couple of seconds after waking up, like first thing you do, be laying in the position you're in when you woke up, and thinking about not only what were you last dreaming about, but what you were last doing in general, what your most recent memories and experiences are. Everything from, okay, what was I last doing, to invoking your senses, sight, touch, smell, sound, taste, etc. What were you last doing with your senses? And then if you can get something, you kind of try to work your way backwards in reverse order to get as much as you can. And then aside from that, before bed, I recommend reviewing dreams before bed. So any dreams you've been able to recall and record, I recommend reviewing those before bed, and then setting intentions to remember dreams. It's deciding that you're going to remember them. In fact, those two things go really well together. Setting intentions to remember your dreams while you're reviewing your dreams, those actually go pretty well together because you're already thinking about your dreams while you're doing that. That's kind of the point, actually. The point is to be thinking more about your dreams and to be helping you remember them. Yeah, 200 letters is kind of a pain. Like I said, Bojan, I don't know if you have Discord, but if you have Discord, hit me up in DMs. 2,000 characters there, and you can talk all you want. And I would love to work with you on some of those details there. I'll probably have a few people in DMs to work with after this, which is good. Hopefully, I can help you guys with some stuff. I really hope I can help you guys. Yeah, 200 character limitation is kind of a pain in the butt. I hate it too. You're talking to someone who in YouTube comments has been known to write like 700 words. So yeah, 200 characters is nothing. Nothing. Never get off your mattress after wake back to bed. Okay, that's. I don't know what you're doing technique wise. I think maybe you said something about wild, but I'm not really sure. What about setting an intention, deciding that, to remember that if you have a dream that you're in school, just know that you're dreaming because that is a dream. I mean, if you're in school and it's summer break, you're dreaming. Like just 100%. You're definitely dreaming. But I would be interested to know also like what techniques you're doing, Josh. Like what are you doing practice wise? What are you doing like actual technique wise too? But yeah, but when you're looking at dream signs like that, looking through your dreams, I like to look through dreams that I had and pick out something out of place. Like just pick out anything. Like last night, that whole dream with Dad and I were on another cruise ship, and it was supposed to be going back to some other cruise port, and there was this bathroom we were in, and there was a door that opened with a push button from this weird bathroom that had another exit on the other side, and then we walked out into this hallway thing that led into a cruise terminal, and it was the cruise terminal to get on a ship just to go back one more night to go to an actual cruise port, but it was a legitimate terminal. It was really crazy, and it was all everything there was a dream sign. Location didn't even have a name. The ship could have been the one we actually were on, but that wasn't even confirmed. The cruise terminal layout was just weird. I mean, all of that is just was sort of weird. So it was all out of place, and I think there was something with an airport at some point in that dream too that was kind of out of place too. I mean, just a lot of things that didn't make sense. Ever become lucid during a nightmare? Also, what do you think is the exact definition of a nightmare? Considering that I don't really get nightmares, a nightmare is like like what I'd separate a nightmare from sort of a suspense thriller. Like, both of those involve something like fearful happening. But to me, what I tend to have more is suspense thrillers. There's some sort of suspenseful thing taking place. There's some sort of crisis situation that is like there is some like fearful component to it, and then it gets resolved by the end of the dream. There is a resolution, and then a nightmare is more, legitimately scared for whatever is like going on. It's deeper. It's deeper than that for me. It's like, even in the suspense thriller dream, there are things happening to people, but they're not happening to me. Like they're happening around me, but they're not happening to me. So I was kidnapped by slaver aliens once. I was actually treated really well. Now, people around me, there was this like telepathic alien that was in a lot of pain, that was causing people around him to feel the pain that they were in. But I wasn't actually subjected to that. I witnessed it, but I wasn't subjected to it. And then the slavers killed that person, but not me. And then we ended up stealing one of their ships, and it had like this weird jump drive on it, and it was based on the game I play, a Star Trek game, and it was just jumping from coordinates to coordinates, and I was like at my computer just jumping around until we ended up at Earth Space Dock from Star Trek, and we were basically protected now because we were in the home system of the of humanity in the Federation, so all of Starfleet was basically there. And yeah, that's how suspense dreams usually get resolved. There is always a resolution, and things that are happening aren't usually happening directly to me. They're usually happening. They involve me, but they're happening around me. Now, a nightmare, I would say, is there's something there's something that's more of a direct threat. That's more of a direct thing that's going on that is extremely scary, probably more scary than it could actually handle. I don't get dreams like that. I don't get dreams that I would legitimately wake up from just like terrified, or that are just absolutely crazy. And I've never really gotten lucid in one of those either, because I don't really have them. Let me get caught up. Yes, Bojan Rakic, if your username in Discord isn't the same as your YouTube name, yeah, I don't remember who you are. I'm sorry. When you're like the YouTube and Discord names are different and it's not someone I talk to on the regular, then I have trouble figuring out who you are. I apologize. Oh, Messenger. Oh, lol, hilarious. Okay, yeah. See, I didn't have that name association. You see, I had Bojan Rakic here and Messenger, who you tried to get people in voice chat on OmniLucid before I started the stream. That was you, and yeah, now I know who you are. So yeah, I can help you in DMs. But yeah, it's not that I forgot your username. It's just that I didn't have the association of your username to your YouTube name. I know your username. I just didn't have that association in place. But now I do. Commander Fox, honestly, that is complete. You can move during wild for starters. One, you don't have to do it without moving, and two, it depends on how quickly you can fall asleep. If you're someone who falls asleep really quickly, getting up and moving around, doing something can actually help you be more aware as you fall asleep. If you're someone who takes a long time to fall asleep, like me, you probably want to minimize movement or minimize actual activity, and try using your wild anchor as more sooner rather than later. But it should be based on how quickly you can fall asleep, because if you're someone who falls asleep quickly, you probably want to devote more to awareness, and if you're someone who doesn't fall asleep quickly, you probably don't want to actually stay awake for longer than is absolutely necessary. I fall into that category myself. Yeah, that is actually pretty funny, Billion. Maybe tomorrow. Okay. Use mild to wait back to bed. I have a question. What mild guides are you using at the moment? Do you have any questions about mild in particular, Josh? Will? Let's see. Computer time.
It's 4:24 p.m.
Guys, can you believe we've been going for an hour and a half almost? This is awesome. We've been going for almost an hour and a half, people. I didn't expect to go this far on a live stream today, but we had a great turnout. We still have 8 people in here. I can't believe we only started with 3. I think we had 11 at one point. Don't know what the peak is, but I'll see that later. I'll notice that later. But yeah, it's pretty cool. We've actually got a decent number of people here for an hour and a half. I really love getting a crowd like that. It's awesome. It gives me a lot to do. I enjoy this type of interaction. I enjoy helping people like this. It's fun. All right, you don't have any questions about mild. Okay. Do you do it before bed and with wake back to bed? And honestly, when you're doing mild, that's a great, that one of the things to do with that is to take these dreams that you're talking that we were just talking about, and to go through them and pick out the dream signs. Pedro Fernando Zabala Espinosa. Okay. Well, I think we all know who you are, Huki. Hello. Yeah, I don't know if it went up or down. I know there were 11 at some point. It's definitely gone down now, Huki. I mean, we're at 8, I think, right now. But I don't know if it went up higher than 12. Well, good to know. 12 at one point. That's not bad for like less than 12 hours preparation. But I do think we're getting ready to wind down, everybody. Computer time.
The time is 4:26 p.m.
Yeah, I'd say around 4:30. Hour and a half, I think, is good. We're starting to run out of some questions here. But with Josh Will, I am curious, how you're doing mild. I don't know if we've talked about it before, but I am curious about that. But yeah, it's cool doing getting a good bit of people in here. It's pretty fun. I do wish some of you guys would have been able to make it to the Dream Conference, but I know that's kind of out of reach for most of people. It's tough for me to make it myself, but I'm looking forward to it. This is something I've been looking forward to since February, and I'm actually going in less than 2 weeks. Oh my god. In 2 weeks and about an hour, I'll be landing in Tucson, Arizona. It's awesome. Yeah, if you fall asleep that quickly, Commander Fox, yeah, wake up and do a little bit, use the bathroom, do something, and then do it. Yeah. That is the way I would go. Any final questions from anyone in attendance? We will be getting ready to wrap up shortly. And so if you have any final questions, any last words, please make your way to the podium. Thank you. And this has been a lot of fun. I am looking forward to my next multi-person stream or interview stream or something of that nature, because it's really fun to do these. Mm-hmm. All right. Well, that was some dead air. Don't really want a bunch of dead air. But I don't really have any other questions at the moment. And so I will get ready to head out here shortly. I am going to be on Discord as well, of course. And I will be around pretty much a decent chunk of the day. I may be off doing things in other windows. That's normal for me. That's just something I do. But I will respond to DMs and pings as well. Just don't over ping. But DMs are awesome. I will respond to those. Those usually don't have a priority, like a high priority when I'm in chat, but I do always respond to them eventually. It may be a couple of minutes after you send it, or it could be 12 hours after you send it, but I do eventually respond to them. All right. Well, I think this is it, everybody. Yeah. My computer battery has gone from 100% to 42% during the course of this live stream, everyone. Well, it's good to know that it can handle it, because that is awesome. We are down to 7. I'd like to thank everyone who made it here today to Skyfall Blind Dreamer livestream, to my 18th Lucid Dreaming Q&A. I can't believe I've actually done 18 of these. Now, granted, it's 18 over the course of like 6 months, but still, hey, 18 is a pretty good number. I'm getting close to 20. In fact, I might hit 20 by the time I land at Tucson. Since I'm not a royal jerk, I won't be doing one from the airplane. That would be really, really stupid. But you will likely get me on Discord. And in fact, I'll probably give you guys my arriving flight number to Tucson for anyone who wants to check my flight. Not my flight out of my home airport, because I don't want to tell everybody where I live, but probably my flight into Tucson, because I mean, at that point I'm going to be in my destination. You already know where I'm going to be anyway, so I'm not really hiding anything at that point. But yeah, I'll let you guys know from the air that I'm on my plane and give you guys something to have a little fun with. Anyway, hope you guys have a good day. You can catch me on Discord, of course. This is Skyfall Blind Dreamer. Thank you all for watching. If you enjoyed this content, please hit that like button. If you're not subscribed to Skyfall Blind Dreamer and you would like to be notified of new content, that subscribe button is there and waiting, and the notification bell will make sure you are kept up to date. Thank you, and have yourself a good